Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. There's a slide that I didn't show you during the Civil War. There would people be, maybe 2 or 3 of you here, after a battle. You know, normally you took the guy's guns and his boots and shit like that, right? There'd be carpetbaggers that would come and pull your teeth and take your glasses and depending on where the armies had moved, sell it back to the same army that they took them off of. You know, the military or the government will buy anything and always over what it's worth, over what it's cost. And then when I was working with Pete Conrad, the guy that walked on the moon, and he told me about the fiascos of the hundreds of millions in those days that is wasted on the shuttle program and all this shit that we don't hear about. But they needed some personal development. I'll get you in NASA. Let's see how long you last. Because when we were talking, how can you prove? How can you be accountable? Remember? Well, you can't. And that's perfect to sell to the government. The Warren Commission that cost $600 million to say that it was one person in Daley Plaza that shot Kennedy. Everybody that had anything to do with that knows that it's not true. And when Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Earl Warren, who was the chairman, it was called the Warren Commission, was asked, he was asked when he was coming down the staircase of Supreme Court, he was asked another question. Chief Justice, I know you're going to be looking at pornography soon, to rule on pornography. And he says, can you give us a definition of pornography? And he said, I wish I could imitate a Southern accent. I don't know what's pornography, but I know that when I fucking sees it. And when I could have the kid with the iron lung here. Just like they said that Josh Kim was, Michelangelo. He was a prophet from heaven. Had no body hair, white skinned. He happened to be Korean, but you can believe it. There's the Pope over there. You can either believe it or not believe it. But this, you will metaphorically cut your fucking throat if you don't do this. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit something. So we're governed by the Federal Acquisition Regulation from the government side, but that literally just tells us what we cannot do, not what we can do. So you please be creative in your proposals. You can pretty much bid the moon if you're a small business because we have to award it to you outside of a large business. So you can be 4 or 5 times the amount because the government's stupid and we try to help the little guy regardless if it makes sense or not. So if you guys are 10 times what Boeing's going to do, you're a small business, we have to go to you. And also the other thing was you can actually steal contracts from others legally. Say there's an awarded contract in place for $1 million. And you come in and say with an unsolicited proposal saying, hey, government, I can do the same work for $600,000. We have to consider it. We have to review the proposal, and if it makes sense for the government, we will terminate the original contract and award you the contract. My family has done that in the 70s at least 4 times. So it definitely works, and it's worth it. So do it.
Stephen Zafowicz came to the seminar in the middle 90s. He just graduated from Oxford. This is on YouTube. Came here, and he said, what should I do, sir? He had a double first, graduated top of his class in 2 disciplines, one of which was kind of like the precursor to artificial intelligence. Blah, blah, blah. I said I'd go to Silicon Valley and I'd rip the belly out of it and walk away with a few $100 million. I say change your name too. His parents hate him. He changed his name, and they hate me. But he flew from Edinburgh to London to Silicon Valley, San Francisco. The first deal he did. And in those days, the early days, 30 years ago, they didn't keep you from pulling out money so much. because they hadn't had all these things blow up in their face. So on the first deal, allegedly, a deal that was turned down at Oxford, allegedly, that they knew didn't work, he pulled $200 or $300 million out for his own pocket. Another deal, allegedly, that didn't work at Oxford, he pulled $400 or $500 million. They're raising tens of, hundreds of millions. Okay. He left. Then he came and ran like a thief in the night. Then he bid the security contract at the Green Zone in Gulf War I. Where all the officials and generals and ambassadors stay. The Green Zone, supposed to be the most secure place in the world, was absolute shit. He bid that contract. And he won it. He had bid, they were getting 950, $1.3 billion, $1.8 billion. He bid 300 million and got it. Can't spell security. He went in and then hired G4, at that time, the largest security firm in the world, to replace him. He didn't do it before like it should. After they took the contract, and he paid him only 50 or 75 million for the contract. 3 years later, 2 years later, whenever the contract came up again, there was a federal investigation. Somebody, a whistleblower, something happened. And he rebid on the contract. And he won it again. Because he was 300 million less than some. And then he goes back to G4 again to try to hire him. G4, well, there's a lot of stories. They kidnapped him, they put him out in the. But here's 50 million, get the fuck out. And they took the contract over. The last federal investigation has not been completed. Because we all know what the answer is. He also sent me an email when he got his, in those days he had a G2 or G3. And then he put on YouTube with hookers and shit, him floating around 4 or 5 prostitutes, spreading sperm on their face like makeup. And he says, the Castle Man taught me, the Castle Man. Which I did. And the newspapers came and I recall the kid, but we didn't talk exactly about this. So it finally went away. Now he's got a boutique in Boston, which some of you are going to call on. Family office. I guarantee it. I'm not going to go the name. I guarantee somebody in this room will call on his family office. Because now he went back and got a master's from MIT in artificial intelligence. What else? And you're going to call on him. And if you ask him, is he the guy that lives in the Canada? We may have met once or twice. That's his answer. Weren't you linked? No, that's somebody else. That's not me. But you're not going to do it. I'm going to send you pictures of the black kid. Can we still put pictures on their graduation certificates? Can we put a picture on their graduation certificates they're going to get tomorrow night? Can we still? Okay. Picture him, the black kid. Because most of you are going to put it in a prominent place and it's not that easy. Now, if the kids at my 30-year high school reunion or my 20-year high school reunion, I was going to do an infomercial. And the infomercial was going to be with the kid on the left, right of me, the 2 kids on the right of me, and another kid, a guy named Ruben Munoz, who died in prison, Florida State Prison for murder. Now, that's our 50-year high school reunion picture, and that's when the day we enlisted in 1966 in the military, that little scumbag E6 sold us the buddy plan, meaning that we were going to go into the same time in the military and we were going to stay together our whole careers. That picture is the last fucking time I ever saw those guys in the military. It was buddy nothing. And that's why the military always pays too much. Perception is reality. The blimp, the guy on the left, his father was a tank commander for Rommel. He weighed 16 pounds when he was born. 16. The guy in the middle, Howard Stein, is a retired casino executive, still alive. I'm going to be with him on the yacht in a few days. And then me. And the perception is reality. See, you don't like the perception of doing government contracts. It's too bad. I brought this back just for Meathead. Just to know that I don't hate you. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to watch it there. Okay. Okay, YouTube.